Hello, my name's Shade and today I'm going to be doing the bookshelf tag. It is raining so loudly outside right now. It's like the middle of July and I'm here in a jumper with it pouring down in rain outside. British summers. So I apologise if you hear that. It's very stormy. It's been given very like Agatha Christie vibes and I don't know if that's just because I'm reading an Agatha Christie book at the moment. But that's the vibes. Today I'm going to be doing the bookshelf tag. I was thinking about doing the bookshelf time capsule tag again because I did that a few years ago. I believe it was a few years ago at least. Oh my god, it doesn't feel like that long ago. I'll link the video where I do it down below, and I was thinking about doing like an updated version because I think that's the kind of the point of the tag, but I don't know if my answers have changed enough, and so then I found this tag and I thought great, I'll do this one instead. The creator of this tag is The Wandering Minds. I've not been able to find the video yet. If I do find it, I'll link it down below, and I'll also link all the questions down below if anyone's curious. Okay, let's get into it. First question is, how many bookshelves do you have? And my answer to this question is, what are we counting as a bookshelf? Is a bookshelf anything, like any shelf that contains books? Because if that's the answer, then 5. I think the actual answer to this question is 3. I have 2 Billy bookcases behind me and then an Argos bookshelf there. This Argos bookshelf gives me so much grief. I really want to switch out for a Billy, but I don't know if a Billy will fit there. Already a bit of a tight situation where like this bookshelf like goes further back than this corner is, but I just think I have too many books for the shelf. I think if you were just had paperbacks and not as many as me, this wouldn't be so much of a problem. I think the combination of where it is, because my bedroom, I live in a Victorian house and my bedroom's on a tilt, you can probably tell in every video. The fact that like the backing is leaning away from the bookcase, the backing has just completely come out of the back. Loads of the bookshelves are bowing. I can't fit tall paperbacks or tall hardcovers on this top shelf. I can fit tall paperbacks I believe on this second shelf, but not tall hardcovers, although to be honest I probably can't fit either, and you can't rearrange the shelves to space them out more evenly. This is kind of as spaced out as they get. I recommend the Billy bookcases though. I really like them. They haven't given me any grief. I used to have white ones and then I changed them up for these dark brown ones and I'm obsessed. I love them. I also have extensions on the top. You cannot see. I'm probably giving you some footage of the whole bookcases together, but I also have extensions on these top ones and they're just glorious. And then technically I do have other books dotted around on a couple other shelves. It's just that they're not predominantly bookshelves. And I also have a stack of books. We've gotten to that place. Question number 2 is, how do you organise your books? Genre is the most predominant organisation method I would use, I would say. Age category maybe before that, and form, then age category, then genre, I think is technically the answer. So like my poetry collections, I tend to keep them together. My plays, I tend to keep together. Graphic novels, I tend to keep together. And then short story collections, I tend to keep together unless it's like a part of a different series or like a part of another author's body of work and it just makes more sense to keep it with the author. Likewise, I tend to keep adult novels together and YA novels together and children's books together. And then by genre. I also completely forgot to mention that another way I categorize my books is read versus unread. So these 3 shelves down here, this one, and this one are all unread books. This little stack right here are the books I'm currently reading. I know, we don't need to talk about how many there is. And the rest I have read. Maybe another exception to the rule is like ancient Greek retellings. Generally, all of my like ancient Greek, Rome, Norse mythology type stuff is on one shelf. I just go with what feels the most right in my gut. And so like even like on each shelf, like I have, for instance, like a high fantasy blending into like urban fantasy. Like the shelf is predominantly high fantasy and then I feel like it gets less high fantasy as it goes along until we get to urban fantasy and we kind of go more into paranormal and other things. Although another kind of thing that I've mentioned is I do generally try and keep authors together. When authors write across genres, when authors write across age categories, it gives me so much grief. Where do I put those books? Lee Bardugo, like Ninth House, I don't know if you can tell, it's not with the Grishaverse. it doesn't fit on this shelf. B, like the genres just feel so different. Like Ninth House just wouldn't fit in on this shelf with the other things I have going on. So Ninth House and the Grishaverse are separated right now. And like when V.E. Schwab came along, I had the same problem. Like I've only got Gallant and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by her, but The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue has a vibe that I feel like matches other books I have around it, whereas Gallant is ageless, and so to me that makes it feel more YA, maybe even children's, and yet it's with my adult books. It just, what is this? John Green, he's another like offender, I suppose. He's got an adult non-fiction book and then the rest are YA contemporary, but I've kept him together. Ultimately, what also happens is just where books fit, that's where they go. I think Leigh Bardugo is the only one where her books aren't together. I think the rest of my authors are together. No, I tell a lie. Sally Thorne, another offender. The Hating Game is a contemporary romance. Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match isn't. It's historical romance with like a dash of magic. So I have Angelica Frankenstein with my fantasy books because it doesn't feel right on my contemporary romance shelf. I really take book organisation seriously and it really stresses me out if you can't tell. That was such a long answer to that question. I'm sorry. Question number 3 is how many books are on your bookshelves? And I did not know. I did count them once and then that got me thinking, like we ended up having a competition in my house to see who could guess closest. It wasn't me. I came like 3rd in the running. But it got me thinking like I could have a competition here. So if you want to guess how many books I have, I'll put some footage over so you can kind of make an educated guess, I suppose. It's kind of like how many marbles is in the jar. That's what I'm going for here. If you subscribe to my channel and write in the comment section how many you think, then there will be a prize of up to £15 from either Amazon, or if you live in the UK then Waterstones or bookshop.org, and you can get some books up to £15. If the rules weren't very clear, I'll write them in the description box as well below, and I'll also be hosting this on my Instagram and my TikTok, so if you want to do extra entries you can enter over there as well. Just again, make sure you're following me and then write how many books you think in the comment section and the closest answer will win. You don't have to write the same number each time. You can guess multiple numbers across different platforms if you like. A week from today I will announce the answer and I'm really intrigued to see if anyone comes close. If you're watching the video in the future, if this video's been up or and you do want to know, then I'll link the video below where I actually say how many books I do have. The next question is what is the oldest book on your shelf? And technically it's this really old edition of Romeo and Juliet. I can't even remember how old it is. It's like hidden away on another shelf right now. I cannot get to it easily, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I also talked about this in the bookshelf time capsule tag, I'm pretty sure. So again, that video is linked below if you want to hear more about the old Romeo and Juliet copy. So I'm going to talk about some different books, and I'm pretty sure it's one of these. These are 2 older editions of Enid Blyton. We have Brer Rabbit again and The Magic Faraway Tree. These were my mum's when she was a kid. I think they're from the 80s, so honestly they're not that old. But I don't have like a ton of really old books. Like that Romeo and Juliet edition is like easily the oldest book I have. I think they're cute. I really like these editions. This is the original edition that I read from as a kid. I've never actually read this one. And then what is the newest book on your shelf? And this is a tie, I do believe. I bought like 7 books when I went on a trip to London recently, and I thought it would be those, and the video will be too long. This isn't a haul. But actually I remembered, I'm pretty sure like 2 books came in the mail after I technically bought those books, so I'm gonna go with those ones. Where are they? Oh my god, they're buried in the stack. And so that is James Haynes' Sparrow. This is a signed independent bookshop edition. I saw it when I went to like a physical bookshop. It was Toppings in Bath. I'll link the store down below if you live anywhere near Bath or you're visiting this area. I highly recommend checking it out. It's such a cute bookshop. And I saw the pages and I thought, oh my god, they're gorgeous. And I was really tempted, but I had self-restraint, and then I went home and I looked up the synopsis. I really liked the sound of the synopsis and I was so kicking myself for not getting it. I found it on eBay for the same price new, like it wasn't charging anything extra. It was the same price I would have paid in the bookshop, like, and free shipping. And I wanted to cry with the, oh my god, it's so gorgeous. It takes place in Spain in the Roman times. About this man, kid maybe, I don't know, a boy person, and he's raised in a brothel on the edge of a dying empire. That's all I know. That's all I needed. Almost gave me the Wolf Den vibes, which is one of my faves. I love that series. And the second one was a pre-order, and that is Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. And this is the Waterstones exclusive edition, which is why I pre-ordered it. Two sisters tasked with guarding a library of magical but deadly books, shadowy organization that will risk anything to possess them, even murder. Giving the Starless Sea meets Book of Night. I'm just so intrigued by this one. I think the cover is so cool. I love the pages, signed in a lovely gold Sharpie. It's got, oh my god, look at how beautiful it is. Next up is what is the longest book on your shelf, and now I haven't like gone through and counted all the pages of all the books that I think are in for this, but I'm pretty sure. Like, I thought maybe the Power of the Orange Tree is like over there. You can see because it looks like a brick. Might be in the running. I don't think it is. I think that one's like 800 something. Oh my god, it's so heavy. Whereas Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas, 989, I think. Let me double check. 980, sorry, 980. I remember because it was so close to 1,000 but not quite, and I felt cheated. I felt like she should have just added 20 extra pages so that I could have read a 1,000-page book. But it's close. It's pretty close to 1,000 pages. All the other big books I own are like in around the 800 mark. So this baby. And then the next question is, what is the shortest book on your shelf? I'm pretty sure it's all the way up there. Oh my god, I can't reach. Nothing to see here. It's one of these. The answer is Sally Rooney's Mr. Sally in this adorable little Faber Stories edition. The next question is, what is the predominant genre on your shelf? And again, I haven't technically counted, but I'm pretty sure it's fantasy, especially if we're allowing like magical realism and all of the different like brackets under fantasy. This shelf, this shelf, this shelf, this shelf. If we're counting like ancient history retellings, I know like with the gods, and they often include magic, they are often counted under fantasy. And also this shelf is fantasy. Graphic novels, I have some, that's our fantasy. This is paranormal, if we're including that under fantasy. Then that. I also have some children's fantasy down there. I definitely have more fantasy in my TBR shelves, and I have a whole section for Laini Taylor's books over there, which again, fantasy. And I have more fantasy books in another room. I'm pretty sure it's fantasy. Next question is, have you done a bookshelf tour? No, I have not. I've always wanted to do one because bookshelf tours are one of my favourite videos to watch. I love bookshelf organization. I think we've established. And I'm just like nosy and curious, and I'm always looking for inspiration. I'm open to doing one, but if I had to like... The thing is, I think I'd be so tempted to pull every book off the shelf and talk about it, and it would just be a really long video. So, I mean, maybe someday. The next question is to go on a random number generator and generate a random number and then see which book on your shelf corresponds to that number and then talk about it. I generated the number 50. That corresponds to Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. I did a reading blog for this one actually, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts about it or my experience reading it, I'll link to that down below. I also have like a more summarized quick version in one of my wrap-ups, so I'll link to that one down below as well if you want a quicker summary. Spoiler alert, I did really enjoy this book, as I do with most of Natalie's books. I haven't read all of them, but I read a decent chunk. I've also read The Children of Jocasta and Pandora's Jar by her. I own A Thousand Ships and The Amber Fury, so those two are on my TBR. This is a good one to talk about though, because I actually went to an event where she was speaking at the Roman baths, and it was so glorious to hear her talk about Medusa in the Roman baths. She's so funny. I love her show. Natalie Haynes Stands Up for the Classics, which is like a radio slash podcast type situation. And there was a signing at the event and I got to meet her. I didn't actually get this book signed. I got Pandora's Jar signed. It is just also a stunning edition. That's Stone Blind. Okay, second to last question. Do you have any fan merch or any other decorations on your bookshelf? I do. I try to keep it somewhat minimal though, because otherwise it's just going to become very cluttered very quickly, and I don't love too much stuff on my shelves, to be honest. I want to see the books, and so stuff gets in the way of the books. I do have two little York ghosts, which I think are just the cutest. I will link their shop down below if you haven't already discovered the joys of the York ghost. And that black one actually glows in the dark, and I do see it at night, just this vague luminous orb. Also on these shelves have this little ghost mug, pretty much because I don't have anywhere else to put it. There used to be a cauldron corresponding on the other side, but that is now downstairs because I use it so much. I got this in Poundland, if you wouldn't believe, and it's like iridescent, and come spooky season I use it all the time. And then I suppose, like, corresponding to bookish merch, I do have these two candles. The Star of the Sea is one of my favorite books, and honestly I love this candle. It's one of those ones with like the chunky wick, if you can see, and it just makes a little fire. It makes it really cozy, and I just really love this candle. And then I also have a Sherlock Holmes inspired one. I will link both of the Etsy shops for these in the description. I also have my Avenger Funko Pops. I think they're Funko Pops. I always say it the wrong way around. Someone pointed it out to me, and now even when I say it the right way I think I'm saying it the wrong way because I'm just so paranoid now. They don't really go with the vibe of my room. Like, my room is like big, dark academia, kind of dark fantasy vibes, I think, in my humble opinion. The Marvel just doesn't really lend itself to that very well, so I keep them down there. At the same time though, I don't want to get rid of them because A, most of them are gifts, and B, I do love Marvel. So, and this little A Folio of Forgotten Fables and Folklore book, what would you call it? It's like a little pot which I keep my quirky cut collective bookmarks in. I'll link the Quirky Cup Collective down below as well if you haven't heard of her shop. They make the most stunning bookmarks as well as various other stationery and random bits and bobs. And then I also have like a lot of decor. I have a lot of decor on the top of this shelf. My little Sappho bust. I have a little beeswax angel candle that I just think is too dang cute to burn. I have these rose candlestick holders that I've yet to put candles in. I have a little chalice, some poetry books that kind of go with the vibes, and these little bookends. And then this book that I painted, that is The Last Hour by Rick Yancey, and that is a scene in the book on the front, and I painted that, and I'm so proud because I have no artistic talent whatsoever, and I think it came out pretty well. And then the last question is to simply show you my bookshelf, which I probably have been doing throughout the video, and those are all the questions in this video. I hope you had fun and enjoyed this. Do comment down below how many books you think are on my shelves. I really want to hear what you think. That is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening / night. My name's Jade. I hope I see you again next time. Goodbye!